Welcome to the Arclight Battery, your power source for all things Warcraft Rumble related. In today's video, we're going to start our very first episode of our new podcast, Arclight Rumblings, and I am joined by my co-host, Blue Max. How's it going, Blue Max?
Doing well, Minnie. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So,
Awesome.
we decided to make a podcast because there are a lot of really cool podcasts out there, and we kind of wanted to dip our toes into it. We're going to use this platform to talk about all the things happening in the Warcraft Rumble space. We'll talk about patch notes, our thoughts for future patches, PvP meta, what we like about the game, what we don't like about the game, what we would change, what we wouldn't change, all sorts of stuff. We're going to talk about anything and everything Warcraft Rumble related. Are you excited,
Yep.
Max?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep.
So, this is just our introductory episode. We'll kind of call it episode 0. We're not going to dive too deep into too much Warcraft Rumble stuff. We'll do a little bit, but we just wanted to talk about a couple of basic things. We're going to talk about our gaming background, and then we'll talk about our hopes for the new season, since the new season's coming on Sunday. And we're also
Yes.
going to talk about our speculation for the new hero. We're not going to dive too deep, but we just wanted to get this one out there. So let's go ahead and talk about our gaming background. Max, do you want to start us
Okay.
off?
Well, okay, I can.
Okay.
We're gonna primarily focus on our background as it pertains to the Warcraft franchise as well as mobile gaming, since Warcraft Rumble is a marriage of Warcraft and mobile gaming. Um, I played the original Warcraft Orcs and Humans when I was a sophomore in high school in 1996. So I was 15 years old, and I got it. I got a demo CD-ROM CD-ROM that allowed you to play the first 6 episodes or missions, if you will. And that was my first introduction to an RTS, and I was hooked. It was a huge amount of fun. Um, After being introduced to the franchise, jumped into Warcraft 2: Tides of Darkness later that summer, and played a lot of it. Um, played the expansion, the Dark Portal or something to that effect, but never quite completed any of the campaign missions, and that was certainly early. Being in the mid to late 1990s, we still didn't know a lot about local area networks, and I wasn't techie enough to know about how to play multiplayer, say over modem.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of left it off after that. I did not play Warcraft 3 or World of Warcraft. I was introduced to the Age of Empires series in the late 1990s as I was getting out of high school, and so my RTS direction changed, if you will, and then I was in college, then I got married, started having kids, went to college again, and so basically I missed a lot of gaming mini from the 2005 timeframe
Mm-hmm.
and for easily the next decade and a half. I had friends that played WoW, and they were really into it, and I got to, I guess you'd say, kind of vicariously enjoy certain aspects of WoW by listening to my other techie friends talk about it, but it was nothing that I ever jumped into. I did play some RPGs like the Elder Scrolls. I played a lot of Elder Scrolls Oblivion that came out in '06, but really transitioned to mobile gaming fairly early on just because it kind of fit my lifestyle better, being married and having a lot of kids and being very career driven, but also still liking the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the most recent mobile games I've played starting around 2019, as mobile games became more and more sophisticated. That would be like World of Warships Blitz, Archero, Brawl Stars, another one called Darkfire Heroes that probably not many people have heard, but it ties in a lot with our Diablo Gaming Guild and Harry Potter Magic Awakened briefly while we waited for Warcraft Rumble to come back out of beta, and then of course Warcraft Rumble. I'll say one more thing, then I'll pass it on to you. When me and my group of friends from Darkfire Heroes became interested in wanting to play Warcraft Rumble. Of course, most of them were all, hardcore WoW players over the last decade, and so they were super thrilled. I had to go get books. I bought I've bought and read probably over 10 books in the Warcraft universe to kind of catch up and figure out what all the excitement was about and just kind of understand what's going on. And then I went back and I played some Warcraft 3 Reforged to uh, pick up on the campaign there. So I am very much behind when it comes to Warcraft lore. So looking forward to hearing what you have to say on that.
Gotcha. Well, my gaming background kind of started in World of Warcraft, actually. I was, I don't know, probably 10 when Vanilla World of Warcraft came out. Maybe younger, but by the time I played it, I think that's around the age I was at. I was playing weird Asian MMOs somehow. I was playing something called Silk Road, which to this day still has some of my favorite mechanics of any MMO I've ever played.
Okay.
But my buddy was like, no, 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 you gotta stop. Come play this game with me. And so we started playing World of Warcraft, and it was a blast. It was so much fun. And I've played off and on ever since. I have not played a lot of mobile games. I will admit that I really like the idea of gacha games. It just hits that like gambling itch that I have.
Yes, it
However,
does.
I've
Yes, it
never
does.
up until this point, I've never actually spent any money in a mobile game. I would always play it
Uh-huh.
and like save up the premium currency until there was a cool banner, and then I would spend all of the diamonds. And if I got really good pools, I would keep playing for a little bit, and if I didn't, I'd just drop the
Uh-huh.
game and go find something
Okay.
else.
Yeah.
But I actually played World of Warcraft before I played Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 was introduced to me in high school. Our computer teacher had it on all of the computers, and I never played the campaign. I
Nice.
never really liked RTSs, to be honest, but
Hmm.
me and some friends would take it and we would play all of the custom game modes, all the custom maps you can download that people create. So we played things like
Hmm.
Rabbits versus Sheep and Elemental Tower Defense and Tree Tag and
Hmm.
Warlocks and all of the big games. It was a ton of fun. I still get together with that group of friends and we have a Warcraft 3 LAN party every like 6 months or so. It's so much fun. So
That's awesome.
that is my gaming
That is
background.
awesome.
Yeah,
Did
it's super hype.
you did you play Defense of the Ancients?
We did.
That custom map?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't
Mhm.
remember too much of it. Remind me how. Remind me about it.
I don't know a lot about it either, other than just kind of the lore. But basically, it was a custom map that did Defense of the Ancients, Dota, and it
Oh,
spawned the MOBA gaming platform. So Dota 2, League of Legends, and of course Heroes of the Storm,
okay.
all kind of got their start
That
from
is.
this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's why I don't remember
Good.
that map too much, because by the
Okay.
time I had access to Warcraft 3 and
Uh
we
huh.
had played it for
Hmm.
maybe like my freshman year or something in high school, League of
Uh huh.
Legends had just came out of beta and we were playing that. And I
Okay.
remember playing Dota on the original Warcraft 3 um, after I had played
Mhm.
League of Legends, and I was like, this is just a knockoff League of Legends. but then
Little did you know.
yeah, then I had it explained to me that Dota was the original and there were
Yeah.
people that developed Dota that were working on League of Legends. I was like, okay, this makes sense. I just remember hating the controls, especially not being able to re-keybind anything in Warcraft 3,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
go play League of Legends.
Okay. There
So
you go.
um
Speaking of which, I'm sure you saw. Apparently, Blizzard has released a patch, a new content update for Heroes of the Storm.
I did see that. I think they
Yeah.
announced that they were gonna continue to give updates, right? Didn't they say that
Yep.
somewhere?
I have definitely heard that before, and I forgot to include that in part of my gaming resume, if you will. Played a fair amount of Heroes of the Storm, probably in the fall of 2018, and that was my introduction to a lot of the those Blizzard Warcraft heroes. So
Hmm.
I've got a soft spot for Heroes of the Storm, and would not mind giving the game a try again at some point, since
Fair
it's
enough. Well,
maybe getting off of life support.
I don't know about that, but maybe we'll see.
We'll
I
see.
I I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of Heroes of the Storm. However, I
Hmm.
know a lot of people who were, and I hope that it comes back for you guys. So,
Sounds good.
alrighty. Well, let's jump into our next topic. All right, Blue Max. So, what are your hopes for the new season? Is there anything you're looking forward to? Or is there anything you would like to see changed? What are your thoughts?
Okay, well, if I recall BlizzCon correctly, basically every other season we should get additional Tower and Cobalt skins, and I love skins. Played a lot of Brawl Stars and bought a lot of skins,
Mhm.
so can't help but look forward to that. But um, really, I think the thing we're all looking forward to, of course, is a new map. It's called the Hillsbrad Falls.
Hillsbrad
Um,
Foothills.
Foothills. There you go.
Hmm.
So obviously looking forward to a change in the meta, looking forward to the next modifier coming up, the Gold Rush. You're going to see, I think, a lot more Gold 5, Gold 6 minis getting some love in PvP.
Hmm.
And as much as I like Huntress, that means she might be more viable. Then of course mini, there's the hope and expectation, at some point um, Blizzard is going to set it up to where PvP, the map and the modifiers are random per match, and I think we've both discussed that. That was in our respective videos. That was something that was covered in BlizzCon back in November.
Hmm.
So maybe we get that now. I don't know.
Maybe that would be nice. Um. Okay, well, I'm excited for that as well. I'm excited for the
Mhm.
reset, for the guild chest. Let's be honest, PvP doesn't actually reset. There's not a whole lot of rewards to be gained from that. But the war
Right.
chest is exciting. Um, I hope that the new emote is really cool. I hope that the new leader is really cool. We're
Yeah.
supposed to be getting Emperor Thaurissan, or at least that's a speculation. We don't actually know that to be true. Um, they can change anything whenever they want, and we still don't have patch notes, even though the patch is supposedly Sunday. So what is that? 4 days from now? Yeah, 4 days
Yeah.
from now. So who knows what we're gonna get?
Yeah.
Um, I think that I don't want to dive too deep into like PvP changes, but something I
Okay.
hope for in the new season is more level caps. So like currently we
Yeah.
have what is it, level 5 until 3000, and then after that it's the Wild Wild West. You can be any level you
Wild
want.
West.
I
Yes.
would love for them to introduce a new level cap up to like 4K, maybe, to where it's like 7
Hmm.
and then maybe 5K for 9, and then after that it's just, whatever you get. So I think it would
Yeah.
really help newer players out. There are
Oh
still
yeah.
a lot of players that comment on my YouTube channel, um, and that I just see in Discord. They're like, "Yep, I'm done with PvP. I hit my 3K, and that's
Mhm.
it." So,
Yeah, and you can't blame them. I mean, it's discouraging.
mhm.
I mean, I have almost all level nines with a handful of tens, and I find it discouraging facing an all level 10 army. Um, what I did find interesting is I was thinking for a short period of time that maybe 10% stat difference between levels was too high, but that's exactly what Clash Royale is. So that surprised me. I did not recall that being the case. So I'm still at a loss why a single level feels as drastic as it does.
So have you played a lot of Clash Royale?
I played a fair amount over about a 2 month phase in November of 2022. I got up to 5,500 trophies.
I know nothing about their system at all. I've never
Okay.
played it once.
Okay. Yeah.
So is 55? What would you equate 5,500 trophies to in Warcraft Rumble?
Ooh. I'm going to say between 14 and 15,000. That may be completely off base. It may be closer to 12,000, but it basically means, at that point. So in Clash Royale, they gate a lot of the different units to your trophy level. So at that stage, you've probably acquired, I'm going to say 90% of the units available. So you almost have a complete deck. So I was fairly up there. Um, and I seem to remember being able to, with fair consistency, um, beat beat players that were leveled higher than me. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure why it feels different in Rumble. Maybe it's a psychological thing. Maybe it's just the fact that it's a lot of grinding to go from 8 to 9 and then from 9 to 10. But the bottom line is, and we talked about this a lot in our internal guild chat, is um, you know the game is early, and it is very commonplace that you're not, in the early part of a game's life cycle, you're not going to have a lot of catch up mechanics. And so this is just kind of the way it is. And there will come a point where all of this levels out, and most of the competitive players are playing with the same deck level. So this may be just kind of growing pains for us. That's at
Okay.
least my thought.
Um, I hope you're right. I have a couple of. I have some things I want to touch on. However, I don't want to get too far off the topic of what we want to see, and we can
Fair.
definitely talk about it in another podcast. And I definitely
Yeah.
look forward to doing that. That's going to be a fun podcast, and I have a lot to say once we get there. Um, but that's another one.
Okay. Yep.
um,
Sorry about that.
no, I haven't. You're absolutely fine. So other than maybe some PvP reworks, and Emperor Thaurissan, anything you're looking forward to next season, or is that about cover it?
Well, I, yeah, it pretty much covers it. I mean, I would like to see more people be able to reach that second emote, um, because it's, a lot of people who play mobile games are completionists and collectionists, and
Hmm.
they want to basically be able to acquire everything that the season has to offer. So yeah, I look forward to seeing if some of those changes do take place, so that more people can get as much as they can, from a collection standpoint. So that being said, I really, really hope you're right about PvP level caps. I hope that happens.
Awesome. Well,
Yep.
let's move on to talking about the new leader.
So, Minnie, before you jump into the next topic, which is the new unit, I did want to say one more detail about our Clash Royale talk, and that is I fired up my Clash Royale account for the first time since playing Warcraft Rumble, and I went ahead and played a match, and all I'm saying is I was amazed after playing that match at just how graphically rich and detailed Warcraft Rumble is. Clash Royale is a great game, not talking bad about it, but Warcraft Rumble has a lot of things going for it. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous game.
Good. Well, that's awesome to hear. Once again, I've never
Yeah,
played Clash Royale, so I have no idea about its aesthetics or how it plays, but I'm
yeah.
happy to hear that. Okay, so let's talk about the new leader. Do you have any
Okay.
thoughts, or do you want me to start this one off?
Oh, I think you should start, and considering that you have actually played World of Warcraft, unlike me, maybe even give a little bit of a backstory on Emperor Thaurissan
Okay,
and how he plays.
so if I remember correctly, it's very possible that I don't. I believe
Hmm.
he is the last boss of Blackrock Depths, and
Okay.
that is an instance in Vanilla WoW. Um, I don't think he has very many mechanics other than he has like a princess in the fight, and if you kill the princess, he enrages. I believe is
Hmm.
how that works, and so you don't want to kill the princess before killing him. I think he enrages every so often anyway, and then
Hmm.
I think it just wears off after like 10 seconds. It's been so long since I've done
Okay.
that fight, and it was Vanilla WoW, so there was not a lot of memorable mechanics anyway. But yeah, he's definitely the
Hmm.
last boss of Blackrock Depths. Now,
Okay.
for what I think he will do in this game, we know from his encounter, because he is a boss in Warcraft Rumble, that
Yes.
after you kill, or rather he kills, so many minis of yours, um, he summons fire elementals. So I
Yeah.
thought that maybe that could be his passive. After you kill so many minis on the map, you spawn a fire elemental from your base. Um,
Okay.
I think that he would cost 5 gold. We know that he has a
Hmm.
melee attack and a ranged attack because of BlizzCon, so
Hmm.
that'll be cool to
Yes.
see. I don't think they're going to make him super cheap, just because of that. It's a lot of utility and diversity there.
Yes.
So my guess is 4 or 5 gold. And then one of the
Mhm.
talents I thought he could have, and bear in mind this is only if his passive is the fire elemental thing, um,
Mhm.
is that maybe instead of spawning a fire elemental, it spawns 2 smaller ones so that both have 2/3 of the original one's health, and they split
Okay.
if they can. So
And
like
they
one on the
split.
left side, one down the right side.
Okay.
What are your
Now, fire
thoughts?
elemental, yeah, yeah. So elemental is a 4 gold unit when played separate, right?
Uh huh. Yep.
Okay. So with that in mind, my immediate thought of that being the passive is that might push the leader cost to 6 gold.
Ooh. Okay.
Either that, or it's going to be a fairly high threshold to spawn a fire elemental because that's a very powerful unit.
Yeah.
That's a lot of value.
Or
That is a lot
maybe,
of value.
or maybe it's not even a fire elemental. Like it is, but maybe
Mm.
not what we have in game. Maybe it has like half the stats or
Right.
something.
Yeah, something along those lines could definitely be the case. So Emperor Thaurissan is a Black Rock dwarf, right?
Yes. Uh huh.
So even maybe even some type of passive that benefits mining
Okay.
could take place. Now, granted, you already have Sneed,
Mm-hmm.
who does that. So maybe Blizzard looks at that and says, yeah, well, we've already got Sneed, so we need to find something else. And we don't have a leader that spawns. No, that's not true. We have Baron Rivendare, who routinely and randomly spawns the little skeleton mages.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, this is a different mechanic that you're describing. This is a mechanic by which, after a certain number of kills, a fire Ellie is spawned at your base. And yeah, I mean that's a real possibility. That is how the encounter in the campaign plays. So that could be interesting.
Yeah. I once again, entirely speculation. I have no idea what this character does yet. But I
Yep.
think it would be very awesome if that was something that he did. We have, like you said, we have things that summon units already, like Baron summons skeletons
Hmm.
on a timer and from bases. But it would be cool if it was like a larger unit that took more time and effort to
Hmm.
actually summon. So like
Hmm.
maybe 20 units die on the map and you get a fire elemental, which means that you get to play for these like kind of swingy pushes because you can
Yeah.
basically generate 4 gold for free every so often. And by timing it and
Hmm.
knowing when it's going to happen, you can try and get other things to play with it, like a shaman or something like that. Saving up gold to
Yeah.
support your new 4 gold fire or your free fire elemental that you just played a
Hmm.
shaman on top of could be pretty solid.
Yeah. That's very true. Hey, if for no other reason, I'm looking forward to Emperor Thaurissan coming out because it means a new leader to use to farm Arclight energy, and I need a bit of that.
Yeah, don't we all? I have actually
Yeah.
started doing dungeons again. I was
Okay.
on the boat of like, once my leaders are gold, I'm not doing dungeons anymore because I don't enjoy them that much.
Yeah.
So I have had
Yeah.
to start doing them. So now I think all my dungeons are close to the 28-ish mark. Um,
Okay.
but definitely need to get on top of some of them. I think like my undead and my horde are not up there yet. I know I just spent the
Mhm.
last couple of days, well, couple of days. I've spent the last little bit getting my dungeons up on my horde leaders. Now they're like 26-ish, but I can still do
Okay.
higher on those for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That makes sense. I was in the same boat. And I think the reason I didn't enjoy dungeons or I didn't like them at the time is, of course, you and I, we played beta, we played soft launch, and in early soft launch, um, to get all gold means you had to run 22 dungeon levels per leader. And fortunately, that has now changed, and you have some catch-up mechanics to where if you're over leveled, significantly over leveled, you only have to play 1/3 the number of levels, and that was a good move. That was
mhm.
definitely a good move by Blizzard. Unfortunately, by the time that came into play, I suspect you and I probably had all gold for everything.
I
all the
actually
leaders.
I actually got to take advantage on a lot of leaders.
Oh,
When
okay.
it was one level, so like a whole dungeon run for one gold slot or like one upgrade, I
Yes.
guess.
Yes.
I leveled up my Jaina, and I think my Sneed and my Baron. I think those were the only leaders that I got full gold on because
Really?
I wasn't doing the rest of them. So I actually
Okay.
got the benefit of that. Um,
Oh, good.
so pretty happy they changed that.
I'm happy they changed it. I just didn't get to take it. I didn't get much advantage. No, I
You should
did
have
with
been lazy.
Charlka
You
and
should have
with
been lazy
Thalmos.
like me.
Mm,
Oh, you know
I
what?
was lazy. I was lazy in other ways in the game.
Fair. I
Yeah.
think I did do the Charoga as well because I took advantage of the bug at the time with the mining candle and harpies and dark
Yeah.
iron miner, which
Yep.
was a fun bug. Um,
Who can forget that one?
yep. If you don't know what it
Yeah.
is, they used to have a bug where they had a talent or a relic in dungeons that gave your miner like plus, was it 25 or 30 levels?
Plus 25, and I
Plus,
think they nerfed it to plus 20.
okay, plus 25 levels. However, if you had harpies with the mining talent or dark iron miner and you played them
Yep.
for 1 gold because of Charlie's passive, the game saw it as your
Yeah.
kobold for whatever reason, and it gave it
Yep.
25 extra levels. So you could be running like I think I had like little 45 or something harpies at the time, and just running through the
Hmm.
entire map, and it was so funny.
Yeah, I wish I had I wish I could see some recordings of that. I think I may have played 1 or 2 levels with that and went, I don't really feel good about this. I'm just gonna pass.
Yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
that's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
Well, Max, do you have any other thoughts about the new leader before we wrap this up, or anything you want to say?
Not really. No, not really. I mean, looking forward to seeing what the mechanics are, what the talents are. I think it's interesting that we have both a ranged and a melee.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be really interesting. I did want to say one more thing about gaming background that I forgot about, and maybe somebody in the audience who remembers this can comment and tell me what the name of it was. So I remember reading a gaming magazine, probably around 97 or 1998, while on a flight on an airplane. And it was an article talking about Blizzard coming up with the idea for an online role playing game. We didn't have the acronym MMORPG. That was not in our vernacular at the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this was well before it, but there was some idea that Blizzard was touting and even had in a magazine a about what would turn into an MMO. And I never saw it ever again. Publicized anywhere. But I remember when some of my friends told me about World of Warcraft around the early 2005 timeframe. I thought to myself, they finally did it. They finally did it. That's really cool. Yeah, it's the last piece of lore I can think of.
And didn't
Yeah.
you say you were looking for the name of what they called it in that article?
Well, I googled for a little while you were kind of getting things set up, but couldn't quite think of the right way to phrase it to get an answer. You know, I did read some history of Warcraft articles, but they were just touching on the major game titles. Certainly did not go deeper into the weeds like I
Gotcha.
hoped they would. So yeah.
Gotcha. Well, if you're out there and you know what an MMO was called before it actually had the MMO tag, let us know in the comments. But I think that's all for us today. Like I said, gonna
Okay.
keep it super short and sweet. This episode is going to be on my channel. In the future, we're gonna do longer form content that is strictly on Warcraft Rumble. We'll talk about Warcraft Rumble a lot, and we will divide the episode in half. The first half will be on my channel, and the second half will be on Blue Max's channel. I will,
Mhm.
as always, leave his link in the description below. So if you are interested in his channel, he has a lot of good PvP stuff over there. Make sure to go and check him out. Okay? So, Thank you
Okay.
so very much for watching, everybody. And until next time, goodbye.
All right. Bye for now. Thank y'all.